All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are tackling something pretty huge, the explosive rise of vibe-coded applications and the immediate, very real challenge of scaling them safely for enterprise use. If you've been following the AI space, you already know the barrier to creating software has basically completely collapsed. But, as we all know, building a super cool prototype is one thing. Deploying it so it can handle sensitive corporate data without causing a massive security breach, yeah, that is an entirely different beast. So today, we're going to unpack the exact mechanics behind crossing that chasm. Here is our roadmap for today. We are going to cover the vibe coding bottleneck, the demo to production gap, hardening data and auth, compliance and guardrails, executing the code handoff, and finally, governing the enterprise app. Let's just jump right in. Starting with Section 1, the vibe coding bottleneck. Product managers, designers, citizen developers, they literally have this magical superpower right now to build fully interactive apps in absolute minutes. They're doing this using plain language and powerful AI agents. A perfect example is Maya 4 on the Ajath AI platform. By leveraging these parallel agents working simultaneously on an infinite canvas, non-technical builders can conjure up a UI, a database, and business logic all at the exact same time. It practically eliminates that translation loss we normally see between a product manager's vision and an engineer's execution. But man, that fast, energetic magic, it instantly hits a massive brick wall. It crashes right into the rigorous, uncompromising reality of enterprise infrastructure requirements. On one side, you have this fluid vibe coding magic where you're just talking to Maya 4 and it's building. On the other side, a very sobering enterprise reality. Because honestly, professional IT teams do not care how fast you built the app if it doesn't support SAML authentication, if it hasn't passed a SOC 2 compliance audit, or if it isn't deployed on secure infrastructure. The speed of your prototype just suddenly collides with strict corporate security. This collision creates what we are looking at in Section 2, the demo to production gap. This is the reality check. This is exactly where a brilliant, lightning-fast prototype abruptly becomes an enterprise bottleneck. The citizen developer did their job, they proved the concept works, but they are entirely unequipped to push this into a live corporate environment. So the real crux of the issue is what happens when a vibe-coded application must transition to secure, compliant, and scalable corporate infrastructure. Think about it. A default sandbox database spun up in seconds by an AI is perfect for testing a theory, but it is an absolute disaster for storing confidential customer health records or proprietary company financials. There's just no way around it. To make that leap, we have to completely rip out the temporary scaffolding and replace it with industrial-grade steel. To actually solve this, we move to Section 3, hardening data and auth. We have to establish a very specific infrastructure toolkit to harden these multi-agent generated code bases. This is where real engineering steps in to take over from the vibe coder. We absolutely need to isolate the data and lock down access. Now, what's really fascinating here is seeing the literal transformation of an app as it graduates. Maya 4 gives you a built-in, zero-setup database and default public authentication. It's totally frictionless, which is exactly what you want when sketching out an idea. But to graduate to an enterprise-hardened app, we must completely migrate that data layer to segregated private Postgres databases. This ensures strict data isolation, so your sensitive corporate records aren't just mingling in some shared pool. And that default public login? Actually, scratch that. It doesn't just need an upgrade. It has to be ruthlessly ripped out and replaced with standard enterprise auth like SAML SSO or Okta. Without this specific data and auth hardening, the app is a total non-starter for sensitive data. Moving right along to Section 4, compliance and guardrails. As we migrate from a playful sandbox to a heavily guarded fortress, the pace naturally slows down. Dealing with enterprise compliance is a highly methodical, high-stakes process. You simply cannot just vibe your way through a corporate security audit. To pull this off, we have to build what are called deterministic guardrails. Look, enterprise environments simply cannot tolerate the unpredictable, probabilistic nature of raw AI code. Maya 4 might write a function slightly differently on Tuesday than it did on Monday. That's fantastic for creative problem solving, but enterprise IT demands deterministic systems. If X happens, Y must rigidly follow every single time. So, hardening an AI app means building these strict, deterministic interfaces that act like an electric fence around the AI-generated code. It absolutely guarantees the app can never execute a command that violates corporate policy, regardless of what the AI attempts to alter dynamically. On top of that, these non-negotiable compliance frameworks must be met. We are talking about Hipaa if the app touches healthcare data, and SOC 2 for broad security and privacy controls. And let me tell you, traditional IT teams just absolutely love auditing unpredictable code written by a vibe coder. Kidding, of course. That is exactly why implementing automated security vulnerability scanning is a mandatory step before this code ever sees the light of day. The infrastructure team essentially needs mathematical proof that the AI didn't accidentally leave a backdoor wide open. Which perfectly tees up Section 5, executing the code handoff, the big graduation day. Once hardened, this is the exact moment we move the project away from the citizen developer's infinite canvas and hand it over to traditional infrastructure engineers. This isn't just emailing a zip file, right? It's about translating the context of what the AI built into a robust system that human engineers can genuinely maintain. Let's look at how this builds a repeatable production lifecycle. Step 1. You have to export the code from the Ajath platform into a version control system like GitHub. You have to get it out of the sandbox. Step 2 is establishing continuous integration and deployment by automating testing through tools like GitHub Actions. And finally, Step 3 is deploying that tested, hardened code to secure cloud environments like AWS, GCP, or Vercel. Platforms out there like Replit even offer specific curriculums for engineers to master this exact handoff, ensuring that when an app graduates, it does so incredibly smoothly. Finally, we arrive at Section 6, governing the enterprise app. Because deployment is definitely not the end of the line, it is really just day one of the application's true lifecycle. Ensuring these newly minted enterprise apps remain secure and functional over time is all about long-term oversight. And this slide brilliantly illustrates why all of this matters so much. Proper governance closes the gap. It's about empowering professional IT teams to safely monitor, manage, and audit these vibe-coded applications without crushing that initial innovation. We don't want to kill the speed of vibe coding. The whole point of letting PMs build apps in minutes is to foster rapid innovation. But by establishing clear handoff protocols, private Postgres isolation, SAML SSO, and those deterministic guardrails, we give IT total oversight. It's the ultimate win-win. Extreme speed on the front end, extreme security on the back end. It leaves us with a truly fascinating shift in dynamics to ponder. Think about this. If a product manager can just speak an app into existence in 10 minutes, but an infrastructure engineer then has to spend a week hardening the database, implementing Okta, and building deterministic guardrails just to make it real, who is the true developer in that scenario? It's a question every enterprise IT department is going to have to answer, and very soon. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how we build a future.